safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban, a multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veterans services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who is interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees are 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today's date is Thursday, January 25th, 2018. The time is 8:30, and we will begin today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Commissioners Womack.
Present.
Voorhees.
Present.
Vonk.
Here.
Talon.
Here.
Steck.
Here.
Skaggs.
Here.
Ponstein.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Melton. Here. Mast.
Here.
Korndike.
Present.
Kallman.
Here.
Jones. Here. Hennessy. Bulkowski.
Present.
Breeby. Here. Vice Chair Bolter. Here. Commissioner Antor.
Here.
Chair Salfeld.
Here.
Chair, you have 19 members present, 0 absent. You have a quorum present.
Thank you. We will move then to agenda items 3 and 4, invocation and pledge of allegiance, and I'll call on Commissioner Hennessy.
Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the democracy alive in our country and our local communities. Help us to govern wisely and for the common good of all. For this is a time of change in Kent County, as ways to take a step after careful due deliberation to appoint a new county administrator controller. And we learn from the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu Do the difficult things while they are easy, and do the great things while they are small. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. And from Ecclesiastes, as we take these steps for a new start here in Kent County, we learn, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the sun, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to lose and a time to seek, a time to rend and a to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. These are the prayerful thoughts as we begin this day, and for that we say, Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Hennessy. We will move on to agenda item number 5, which is special order of business. We do have one item today. It's our annual report from our drain commissioner. So I would ask Ken Young to come forward. Good morning, Ken.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board. It's a pleasure to be in front of you again. It's getting to be more often than I really care to have it, but maybe you'll get sick of me in that. You got before you our annual report from the drain office, and I just want to go through it briefly in spite of Commissioner Bukowski's request that I just ask for questions and not go through anything. I'm going to do the proper thing. Looking at our mission statement and what the drain office is about, and I'll just read that paragraph quickly here. The mission of the Kent County Drain Commissioner's Office is to improve, maintain stormwater drainage for the public health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the citizens of Kent County, and also to be an effective and efficient steward of our natural and fiscal resources. And throughout the year, we have under our responsibility approximately 540 miles of drain that we have to maintain. Some of it's round, some of it's open. And this past year, we have received 180 maintenance requests to different people within the district, and those have developed into 158 projects. There's 1,800 developments that we have to oversee in the retention ponds and detention ponds, and what the output from those are into our drains. And we have court established lake levels that we have to oversee as well. And those are the ones that get quite sticky because no one's ever happy with the level of the lake. So that can be kind of frustrating. This year, some of the significant accomplishments, I want to go through a few of the projects that we did that were challenging for different reasons, but some of them are still in process. On Whiskey Creek, we had a culvert that went underneath the driveway going off in 28th, and that culvert carries Whiskey Creek, and it's about a 6-foot culvert in height. And when we uncovered that, we found that there was about 5 foot of space between the concrete pavement and the dirt that had been washed through that pipe. And we caught it within time to keep anybody from getting injured. But that's where a lot of our culverts are today, in our drains, under our roads. And those are being inspected. We have 2 of them in the wood right now that was supposed to be done, but we run into obstacles. And as much as we all appreciate our utilities, sometimes they can be the deterrent when they don't follow the rules of the county. And the rule of the county is if they're going to use or go through our easement, they have to get a permit from our office. And the purpose of that is then they know how deep they have to run their utility. And that's not necessarily happening. And when they run them over the pipe, and we have a failing pipe, and a road is over the top of it, and we uncover it, now we can't pull the pipe because they got utilities over the top. You can't pull that pipe out. It takes them a year before they can get their people in there and move the wire. And we have a couple of those right now. So when you talk to utilities, encourage them. Use the permit system of the drain office. It's very important. So we have a couple big projects that we're in the process. What we're farmers' fields is clay tile is failing. A lot of these date back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, and they're just crumbling. And we have one in the Johnson Godfrey drain that's going to be approximately a mile of pipe that's to be replaced. And we're just about in the process now of taking bids for that. That's a very big undertaking. We're looking at about $600,000 to replace that pipe. And this is kind of the theme we have in all our infrastructure out there. It's getting old, and it's costly to replace, but the plans have not been in place to pay for that. And we're dealing with the same thing with a lot of these drains, but the community has been very supportive, understanding the expense and the cost, and so far we've been getting good support to get these projects done. Couple things that we're doing that goes a little bit beyond just repairing pipe and cleaning drains is we've been leading in a work group to address the chloride contaminated Knapp's Corner. And that is another very serious issue that we as a society are going to have to take a hard look at. Knapp's Corner receives all the runoff water for all the commercial parking lots on that corner. So we got Myers, we got the theater, all the supporting stores around it, and then we got the family fair, and all those supporting businesses in those parking lots. It goes into one retention pond. And what has happened is it percolates through that soil, and it has gone down into the aquifers, and now it's in 70 wells. So the people are now having salt water come through their pipes. And this is not something that you can just reverse. Once that sodium chloride's in our water, it's there. You can't take it out. It's totally liquid. And so we have to address that. And part of that is a city water system that we're in the process of hopefully this year getting that in. But we also now have to defer that water through a different route. It's not going to be a cheap fix. But at the end of the day, though we're going to move that water differently, it's still not fixing our problem. Because if we continue to use sodium chloride at the rate we are, it all ends up in our Great Lakes. And sodium chloride is heavy and it settles to the bottom. And as that continues to build, it's going to eventually affect our Great Lakes and the environment. The fish environment is going to be a total different environment than what we have today. And the Great Lakes is 20% of the fresh water of the country in that lake basin. And we have a big responsibility to those Great Lakes. And when I was in Lansing, I was part of a group that got together with the neighboring states and provinces of Canada, and we looked at that and constantly looking at new ways to raise money to address the issues and do a better job with our Great Lakes. But this is one that just seems to be the quiet giant down there because we need it for safety reasons in the winter, but we have to find a solution. We have to find another option. And so this is another thing that I take very responsible in this job because I can't sleep at night when I know I'm contaminated people's wells. That's sustainable. You need that for just to sustain life. And so that's a very serious issue. We've worked with IT and the GIS team to build a real-time maintenance request system. And I'm going to show you that here in just a few seconds. And I just want to say this of technology that was developed for our office was just phenomenal. We sat down with the GIS team, my office, and we just kind of talked about what we're looking, where we wanted to go with the technology. And they just, one fed the other, and pretty soon we have this phenomenal system that's real time, and all our records are automatically, electronically recorded and archived. And we're currently And that was another big project that we did, is prepared, set up a system. We're going to file all our records electronically and move them through a system that we can pull up easily and develop that system. And that has been done, and we are now currently working on our 5th file cabinet to be recorded electronically, so it's going very well. As you go through the book, you'll see there's definitions of Chapter 4 drains, Chapter 5 or Chapter 20 drains, Chapter 21. Those are intercounty. You can kind of read that on your own. I'm not going to bore you with that. Of the amount of drain projects that I had listed there, we had 36 of them that were a little more on the major part. And when I classify them as major, those are the ones that after I've gone and met with the constituent and looked at what the request was, if it had to have some engineering or some detail work done, I would turn them over to Brad, who's our in-house PE, and he's done a great job to get the technical side of those drains worked out so that things are done properly. We had 36 of those projects. And we have in our assessments this year, we have 30 municipalities that have drains in their townships or cities that are being assessed today, of new assessments this fall. And that was to the tune of $456,000. That was new assessment. If you go into drain activity, you'll see the red on all those drains. These are drains that have work that has been done. Some of them is being done yet. And those are the expenses toward those drains. And a lot of them are in the assessed process at this point. So the money is being accounted for, but it just takes a little time to get it all in. We have estimated that right now with the amount of money we have out there and the amount of money we spent, we're at a point that with all those assessments collected, we're only going to have a balance of about $100,000. And I say that's a lot of money, but when you're going through $1 million a year on maintenance and improvements, that's a lot of money to keep coming in every year to keep that balance at about $100,000. And my staff is doing a great job with that, along with the support of IT and the Treasury Department that helps us get the tools we need to do the job. Been very supportive. The last piece on this report added this year, it's a new piece that I thought was something I'm proud to share, is we actually throughout the year, people took the time to send us letters of thank you. And having been in public office for 6 years, you just don't see that. So that really said a lot to me when I would get those letters from me and the rest of the staff in the office. So I felt it was worthy to put those out there. And while there's only a few of them in there, but that represents a lot of people. And we didn't get any negative cards. So people are quicker to give you negative feedback, not so quick to give you positive. So I think hats off to my staff and the support of the county that allows us to do this job so effectively. I really appreciate it. That's it. Oh, it's up. Excellent. So I want to show you a quick demonstration of what our friends over in IT, especially the GIS team, put together for us. So one of the things that I was frustrated with when I started here, all the paperwork. People would call in and we'd fill out a form because everything is documented and archived. So I'd get that form, give me the pertinent information. I'd have to find out where in the county they're located and map that day out so I'm not flying all over and it makes sense. And then you go out there and you make the notes and you come back. Then you got to move it over into the file of completion. So I got to remember what I had when I was on this and then come back to the office and start all over again. And that didn't go well with me. And the staff has been working on this in the past few years. So we really just got serious with it and sat down and brainstormed until we came up with this. And this is actually a takeoff program that they're using at the airport, and they just adapted it to our office. And it's just really cool. So you see these red dots on there. and you see some green dots on there, some yellow dots on there, and you see some blue stars. The blue stars are jobs that we had done last year that are now archived. They're completed. Some of those are on that list you've seen, but those are archived, and those will then be put into our electronic filing system once it is completely set up and ready to receive it. The yellow triangles on there are jobs that have been set into motion to be done but aren't done yet or in the process of being completed. The green dots are the ones that are new, the ones I have to go look at, and the red dots are ones that have been completed and then soon to be archived. So the information is, I just pulled up a pad here that kind of shows you. When the call comes in, we give this pertinent information that you see before you, and then it's real time, so as soon as this is recorded and entered into the system, no matter where I'm in my iPad's going to pick it up. And I had it where I was out in Sparta going through some inspections, and also I had 2 more green dots show up while I was out there. And so I was able to go right to those addresses while I was in that vicinity and get all the information downloaded on this thing and bingo. But when I went to the door, what really made me excited is that those people were impressed that they called, and within a half hour, I'm at their door. And they wanted to know how I could do that. And, you know, that's government working at its best, folks. And that makes me proud to be part of a county that supports you to do this kind of service. And all you got to do is sit down with the folks that we have and just talk about what you want, and it's just amazing what you can come up with. I haven't yet found the limit, but I think sooner or later I'll get there. But in the meantime, and so the other key thing on this thing that has helped me so much is that now you look, dots are in a lot, are on a map. So when I'm going to schedule my day where I'm going to go, I can just take a quick look at this map on where in the county I'm going to work that day. I don't have to spend all this time going through all these sheets figuring out what part of the county is this and what part of the county is that. And I just look at my map. It's all right there. And I'm off. And then the real cool thing is, once I know where I'm going, I blow this baby up, and now I got the ortho. So I can go and look at where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. Let me shrink that down a little bit so we can. And another thing that the county did to really support me was they allowed us to purchase a Gator. And it's a 4-wheel drive, and so when I go out in some of these farms and I got to start walking these drains, you know, I could spend a day just on one drain. And it was very tedious, and when those calls are coming in and we're busy, I didn't think that was efficient use of my time, so I convinced Steve and his team that this is a good investment, and we got this Gator. So now when I pull this thing up on the ortho, I can look at where is this drain? Is it a field? And I know whether I'm going to take the Gator with me out there or if I'm just going to drive and walk it. And all that can be done before I even leave the office. And my time is used efficiently, my staff's time is used more efficiently, and so just a very big tool that really allowed us to do our job more efficiently without hiring more people. Because that's one of my focus, to keep a small office, but better service. So that's pretty much the end of my report, and I'd like to open up for questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ken. Are there any questions for our drainage commissioner this morning? Commissioner Korndike.
Thank you, Chair. So Ken, I'd like to circle back to Knapp Corner, since that's in my district, and the concern that you have there. So are you working with, since that's the city office, correct?
Correct.
Are you working with them on a resolution to the problem?
Oh, yeah.
Because when I look at your report here, I see 1, 2, 3 drains that are in and around my house personally that have assessments on them, and I know from history we had a lot of water problems in the past. So I'm very concerned that this might create even more in the future, along with the fact that Calvary has just done a big expansion, and I'm concerned about all the asphalt that has there as well, because that flows downhill through the neighborhoods that I represent. So,
any of these expansions on commercial property or developments, if they're not condos, and it's a funny thing, the law says if it's a condominium, we have no jurisdiction. And
They're
that
building
doesn't
some
make
condos
sense.
nearby too, so.
Because eventually that comes back to bite us. We get the calls, the complaints, and they want us to address the drainage, which we don't have any authority to do.
Okay.
So it has to go through their association. And so that's always a frustration for us. Any other commercial property, it has to pass the scrutiny of Angie Ovitis. That's her area. And there is a gal that is very bright. And I've watched her work on these plans, and she looks at every high spot, every low spot, calculates the amount of water that's going to flow into our drain. Is it acceptable? Is it not? Does it fit the criteria? And she's tough. She's very fair, and but she's tough, and she has to be, because ultimately she knows we're on the end of maintenance. And if we're dumping more water into those drains than what our current laws and policies are, we're going to be affecting every home downstream through flooding. And that's not fair, and it's not right.
So back to my main question, then, what is the resolution for the contaminated
For the
stormwater?
contamination, well, we're just going to shift it from the pond directly to the river. It's going to be piped. It's going to become, instead of a retention pond, where it's going to become a detention pond, where we'll detain the water to a period of time we have to pump it out. And it's going to go directly into the river. And that's not an answer. And it doesn't make us happy.
Right.
But it gets it away from the residents of whose property we're really causing harm to. And it is a team effort with the city of Grand Rapids and the drain office and the township of Grand Rapids.
I was just gonna say, this borders on my doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People that are impacted in my district are having the water, their wells converted over to public water.
Yeah,
Which is a solution for the drinking water, but I'm concerned
right,
about the
right.
stormwater.
It's not.
I
And,
understand.
and that solution is bigger than us. It has to be start to be worked from the state level. And that's, I'm putting whatever time I can into working that. I've talked to a couple senators about maybe some possible legislation. Massachusetts has a great model that I'd like to see us lancing, that, you know, it doesn't get rid of it, but it starts to curb the use of it. Until we can come up with a replacement, it's hard to eliminate it, because we got the liability and slip and falls and that type of thing. But, you know, it'd help a lot if people started to wear the galoshes and not wear fashion shoes when they're walking around in the winter, so we don't have slip and falls and we could use less salt. So that's the road commissions are doing a great job in putting down less. Back to the intersections out in the rural area by me, you'll see the intersection salted before you see main runs. A lot of times they don't even salt the main runs unless it gets icy. So I just see some conservative practices going into play. The city is committed to cut back 30% on their salt usage, Grand Rapids, and I just applaud that. So every place that we can do different and use less salt and not think that there's ice, let's just pour it down on sidewalks and stuff, you know. We just have to go back the way it used to be, and we just never used to do that, because this is going to affect our grandkids.
Thank you.
And it's a very serious issue.
Commissioner Ponstein?
Thank you, Chair Southall. Ken, you had mentioned in your opening about the drain and the utilities were on top, and now it's going to be more expensive after the fact to fix it. Do we inspect projects that are being built, construction projects that cross our drains, affect our drainage and our waterways? Are we inspecting contractors to make sure these are done right off
Yeah.
the start instead at the end?
Yeah, and Brad is very good about that, but the problem we have is they don't get the permit, so we don't know what's happening. Last week, on 68th Street in Gaines, Comcast is doing a new utility, so they're boring underground, and all of a sudden I get a call at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock on Friday. You better go down to Gaines and Kalamazoo because you got water flowing all over the 68th Street. It's sub-zero temperatures. We got a skating rink. Well, they bored right through a concrete pipe, 10-inch concrete pipe that was drained in a detention pond of that development that went into the manhole, and they cut that pipe right in half, and all that water washed out the sidewalk and onto the street, and they didn't pull a
And the penalty
permit.
for something like that is just
Well, they pay for it. We don't have any authority on penalties. We just can we have a avenue we have is to get the cost recovered. And we can have a direct route to the courts to get that done, a little more speedy than the normal system. That's the only authority that I have as a drain commissioner. But and it's frustrating because we've had a couple other issues not too long ago on the same issue, and they did pull the permit. So why not on this job? There's just not consistent. So and Brad is in this with me a lot, and we're just being very consistent, and we're going to be very firm that you're going to pull these permits. And we're going to make sure you put these wires in the proper place. Because when we go through to scrape a drain out and you hit a big high voltage wire that's buried too shallow, someone's going to die. In this case, these wires were over a steel culvert. If that would have rubbed that insulation open, that whole road would have been electrified. It's crazy, and public safety is involved.
Yep.
So,
and I agree with all that, but your example just recently, they're still doing it. So what we're doing isn't working because the latter is going to happen. Someone's going to get seriously injured or die. So.
It's possible, but we're going to be as persistent on this as we can. And they're going to know we're serious. And if we have to do whatever we have to do to make sure they pay the cost, we're going to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
You, Chair. Ken, nice job with everything you've been doing since you've taken office. I enjoy working with you when we have our Lake Board meetings together. Thank you for taking the time to come to those too, because as a commissioner, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I have Lake Board meetings with the Drain Commissioner in my district. So we make sure we attend those as needed. And I've had personal experience in working with Brad with situations in my area that need help, and you're very, very responsive. So the question that I had, when it comes to a needs study, you are with the Road Commission. Do you find that to be helpful? Is that a good spot for you?
Yeah, it's perfect. Because we work so close together with everything. An example was Friday with that water. First they thought it was a water service, and they tested the water and it wasn't. So then it wasn't long to figure out it was a drain. But they were there. The County Road Commission was there. They had the hole dug. They had 4 pumps in that hole to take that water and put it in the catch, so it stayed off 68th. They were there to get the salt down to get rid of that ice. And Jerry then called me direct, and that kind of relationship is critical because we work so close. Some of our drains are ditches, and it's, Jerry, I need this ditch cleaned. Can you take care of that with your guys? You're set up to work along the road. Our guys can do it, but it's safer and better if you do it. It's done. And it's always done timely.
I just think it was important to emphasize how well that is working.
Yeah,
So
very well.
In the world of that assessment we are working on, this particular fit is a good one. So thank you.
And also their records. There's a lot of times Brad has to go into their records to look at what they did with a certain road that has gone over one of our drains that we don't necessarily have that record in our files. And so it's all right there in one building, so it really works very well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steck?
Thank you, Chair. Paul, thank you for your passion for drains. Who knew, huh?
Yeah. Actually, it's probably more the public safety side of it.
Well, that was going to be my comment. I will join my neighbors who expressed some of their thanks for the work on the Wilson ditch, and that was a sample or example where I can see public safety is impacted when you're doing these projects, and so. It's not just fun to run water. This is important safety.
Yeah, people don't realize if we aren't moving that water, it's going to bite you.
So my question, though, is on the ditch or drain, the revenue side of that, are these assessment revenues you're listing there?
Yeah.
And if it's assessment revenues, how do you end up with a negative revenue? Because I noticed by the one that I'm in was a negative. Am I going to get a check?
No. Those numbers are not, and I had this conversation with Lonnie because this is where our accounting gets complex with these drains and why it's a typical 360 system program doesn't work for us, but they're working on it for us. This is the cost.
Extra bill.
This is the cost in those drains. This is not these are costs that are being assessed but it's not the balance of the drainage district. We got like 650 districts. Each one is its own entity, its own business, so to speak. So these are just drains with balances of work that has been done. It's not the balance of the district. All right, so those numbers can deceive you. It's the easiest way I can explain that. If you need more detail, I'll have Lonnie come and she can go through the whole spiel for you.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Baum.
Thank you, Chair. Follow up to Stan's question about your projects. About a half dozen or a dozen of them are half the money that's been charged to the various townships and cities and so forth. Do you see that continuing this year and next year with major projects that you're going to be handling? Is there anything different on the horizon than we see right now?
We have one in there that was $200,000, and that was during Bill's time, and that's just carried over. This next year, we're going to spend some big dollars. We got some projects that are going to be up in the millions.
Anything special?
Again, it's all related to public safety. We have a real issue in Cedar Springs. That's a serious issue. Potential liability, potential human hurt, danger is there. And it has to be rerouted, like a $4 million project. So we're working with Cedar Springs to figure out how we're going to fund that. That's where we are right now. We got preliminary engineering estimates. Yeah, some of these aren't easy because they're small districts and they're big dollars. But if we don't fix some of these, the potential harm to human life is great. And if that would happen, and we're fortunate it hasn't yet, but if it does, we're just going to sit there and say, why didn't we? And I'd rather live with angry people because we're going to have to collect some money to fix a bad problem than to live with the anger of people because we didn't and someone really got hurt.
Thank you for your good work, and thank you for being the DPW and good service you do there, too.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions. Commissioner Bukowski.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Korndike and I had fun with the drain commissioner. Even though my district's the entirety of the city, there was a big chunk that goes down to the drain commissioner was going to go with scuba gear. So I'll ask you later about that report if you actually did. But that being said, back to our utility friends. When I was on the Vital Streets Task Force for the city of Grand Rapids, we had the opportunity to change an ordinance to basically fine utilities so that sometimes a road gets repaved and a year later the utility says, oh, oops, we have to come dig it up, and then potholes and all those terrible things happen. So unfortunately, as I read through your report, it seems like all your authority comes from the state. So any opportunities as a county commission to give you better authority and power over these utilities? Because unfortunately, the cost that seems not to be a deterrent for good business practice and collaboration.
That's a good question, Commissioner. I don't have an answer for that. And before I would say anything on that area, I would definitely want to consult that with my staff and think that through. But that's a good question. It's something that we will have that conversation on and see what we can, because there's always pros and cons to everything, and we don't want to. We want them to be good partners.
Absolutely.
We just work with them and make it safe for everybody and good for all of us, because it's to their benefit too in the long run. It's just, and some of the stuff was done so long ago that, communication wasn't right. These are old drains and just bad practices that were done, and today we're doing much better with it. So I think in time it'll correct that, but that's something I don't have a problem taking a look at that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Womack.
Yes, Ken, thank you for your service and thank you for such an insightful presentation this morning. When it comes to our Kent County complaints viewer, was our ITT department complicit in that creation, or what departments are a part of the creation? Because I think that's very positive use of our internet, which is a ongoing work in progress as we continue to create things that are save us time and public better. But I just wanted to make sure we give some credit to all the people that were involved in putting that together.
Yeah, it's a team effort. Elliot and Brady and their team that handles just GIS did the final work with us, but it has to be approved through the IT department, through Craig and his leadership and everybody, because their time is valuable. and they got to put it, so phase 1 is what they did here, and it took us a few months before they could get busy. And phase 2 was still on the developing stage. And phase 2 was, I like to see the easy button. But Brady told me that I can't do the easy buttons. I learned to do it the hard way first, so.
Is it part of your department that's keeping it updated? Or what department is keeping it?
Yeah, that'll come from us.
Yeah.
Any technical stuff is them, of course. We're not IT people.
All right.
But the update is all done within our department, yeah.
All right, thanks, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for that annual report and for answering our questions, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We'll move to agenda item number 6, which is public comment. And for our first public comment, which is an acknowledgement and tribute, I'd like to call on Commissioners Mast and Melton.
Thank you, Chair, fellow commissioners. Thank you for giving us a little bit of time to recognize our Veteran of the Year. There's going to be 2 people talking. One would be past Commander Teresa Robinson of Veterans Council of Kent County. That I think this is about the 3rd or 4th time that we've recognized the Veteran of the Year. We normally do it around the Veterans Day, so that's why it's a little unusual today. We couldn't get it into that. And then Betsy Melton, who has been a member of the United Veterans Council Veteran of the Year Selection Committee. And Betsy is really taking hold of that. So I'm not sure. Teresa, you want to talk first?
You bet.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having the Veterans Council and the Kent County Veteran of the Year here this morning. We appreciate everything that you as commissioners do for our county. The Kent County Veteran of the Year is an Air Force veteran who served during the Vietnam era. Here in Grand Rapids, he served for 12 years on the Diocese of Grand Rapids Cemetery Board, helping to plan and coordinate Memorial Day services and arranging many flag placements for veterans' graves. He has volunteered for over 50 years with the Boy Scouts of America at a variety of leadership levels, including district, council, and national committees, and serves as the Diocese of Grand Rapids chaplain for Scouting. As a chaplain and ordained deacon, he averages 30 to 35 visits per month to veterans in their homes, hospitals, assisted living centers, and prisons. He frequently conducts funerals and graveside services for veterans and holds monthly prayer services at 5 senior care centers. As the nomination from his post puts it, he is an example of a veteran caring for veterans who can't take care of themselves. We do not think he can say no to anyone needing help, especially veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the proud member of Catholic War Veterans Post 1058, Kent County Veteran of the Year, Deacon Leo Ferguson.
I have here Deacon Leo, what looks like just a bound piece of paper, but I want you to know that it is so much more than that. I know many here know, I know firsthand that freedom does not come free. It comes with a tremendous price, and I cannot tell you what an honor it is to be able to stand here and read this and have all of you here at our meeting. It really, really is just thrilling to me, to many people who feel that serving our country is still exactly the place to be. It was so at my house when I was growing up. So, without further ado, proclamation by the Kent County Board of Commissioners. Whereas our nation sets aside November 11th every year to honor and recognize veterans who have served in our nation's armed forces. And whereas the United Veterans Council of Kent County annually selects a Veteran of the Year and gives this veteran special recognition at the council's annual banquet. And whereas the
2017 Veteran of the Year is Deacon Leo Ferguson, an Air Force veteran who served during the Vietnam era. And whereas Leo Ferguson served for 12 years on the Diocese of the Grand Rapids Cemetery Board, helping to plan and coordinate Memorial Day services and arranging many flag placements for veterans' graves. And as Leo Ferguson has volunteered for over 50 years with the Boy Scouts of America at a variety of leadership levels, including district, council, and national committees. And he also serves as the Diocese of Grand Rapids chaplain for Scouting. And whereas, as a chaplain and ordained deacon, Leo Ferguson averages 30 to 35 visits a month to veterans in their homes, hospitals, assisted living centers, and whereas Leo Ferguson frequently conducts funerals and graveside services for veterans and holds monthly prayer services at 5 senior care centers. And whereas Leo Ferguson is an example of a veteran caring for veterans who can't take care of themselves, it is doubtful that he can say no to anyone in needing help, especially veterans. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Board Chair James R. Salfeld, Harold Mast, and Betsy Melton, on behalf of the Kent County Board of Commissioners, do hereby congratulate Leo Ferguson, a member of the Catholic War Veterans Post 1058, for being the 2017 Veteran of the Year, and thank him for his many years of service to the military and veteran service members of our community. Thank you. Just going to add an aside, because I already said this, but certainly we all know that when someone donates and gives so much of themselves, it does come with a little bit of a price. So therefore, there is someone else in your immediate family who has donated and given the same amount of time by sharing you with all the veterans. And I personally would like to thank your wife. Thank you very much for sharing him with all of them. And again, what an honor to have all of you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, and congratulations on an award that is very due. Are there any other people that would have public comment this morning? If so, now is an opportunity to come forward. I am seeing none. So we will proceed to item 7, which is our consent agenda, and I will call on Commissioner Hennessy.
I move adoption of the consent agenda.
Support. Support by Commissioner Voorhees. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? We've seen none. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioners Womack,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Vonk,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Steck,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Ponstein,
Yes.
Morgan, Melton,
Yes.
Mast,
Yes.
Korndike,
Yes.
Kallman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Hennessy,
Yes.
Volkowski,
Yes.
Breeby,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter,
Yes.
Commissioner Antor,
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 ayes, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you. We'll move then to agenda item number 8. We have 2 resolutions this morning, and for the first one, Commissioner Mast.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 125-18-3, purchase of development rights. I move that resolution that we have before us.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Jones. Questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just wanted to say, after listening to the Drain Commissioner's comments this morning, all these things, the septic systems, wells, drains, they all interact at some point, in spite of our best efforts to keep them separate. And it's just really important. I'm not advocating a ton of money trying to protect all the farms in Kent County, but we do need a comprehensive plan that addresses our prime farmland and try to separate houses and this prime farmland because the two generally don't mix very well over time. And I happen to live in an agricultural area, and I'm very thankful for that, but it does come with some issues, whether it's overspray from farming equipment when they're treating trees, or just the water contamination that comes sometimes over the years. Think about, but now as we start thinking about with all the stuff that's in the news, we begin to see, man, all this stuff has an impact. So I just think we need to continue to look at a comprehensive plan and look at urban growth areas where it makes the most sense to expand, because we have to grow. This has to be a pro-growth idea. But look at areas where it makes the most sense and try to leave the prime ag alone as best we can, because prime ag continues to be an economic engine for this county, and it's one of the greatest resources we have. We've seen what they did with the prime ag at the state. They buried it under concrete, and now they're trying to unbury it, and they can't do it. They want to revert back to farmland. It doesn't work that way. So just a few comments to try to make sure we keep that front and center.
Thank you. Any other, Commissioner Bukowski?
Yeah, just to start the year in a fine effort of bipartisan collaboration, I'd like to second Commissioner Antor's non-motion. So I would like for us to get, just again, how do we put this plan together and be more intentional about this, so that when our grandchildren look around Kent County, they don't say, how did this happen? They're able to say, this is what we really wanted to do. And hopefully they'll be proud of what we wanted to do. So thank you, Commissioner Antor.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to call to light some of the challenges we will have going forward with this, that there will be more discussion, and I believe it's going to continue down the pipe. The commissioners were all invited to a meeting in the fall. I went to the majority where we had some additional information on how some of the funding for this program is drying up. The money that was there federally isn't. The money that was there with individuals' foundations is changing. So it's just something to definitely be aware of as we go forward. I personally find that this particular program should continue to exist for our county, particularly as someone is a landowner and they want to preserve it. They should have every option, that, which is why I'm glad this vehicle does exist for that option. I think the piece that has to be continued to discussed and sorted out is how it gets funded. So I just wanted to make that comment on that piece. Thank you.
Very good. I do not see any other comments, so we will call the question. It is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 125-18-3, Commissioners Womack.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Mast.
Yes.
Korndike.
Yes.
Coleman.
No.
Jones. Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Bulkowski.
Yes.
Breivy.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 1 nay. Motion passes. Resolution 125-18-3 is adopted.
Thank you. For our second and last resolution this morning, I will call on Vice Chair Bolter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is, I'm proud and it is my honor to move Resolution 4 today, of today's date, the appointment of our new administrator and controller.
I have support by Commissioner Korndike. Questions or comments on this resolution? I'm seeing none. I think that's going to be the case. Commissioner Korndike.
Of course I have something to say. First of all, congratulations to Wayman. Well deserved, well played. Appreciate all the hard work you've put into attaining this position. As Commissioner Morgan always tells me, Korndike, don't get out over your skis. And, I might have gotten out over my skis back in 2015 when I started pushing for you to possibly be our next administrator. But I don't apologize. I think we came to the right conclusion after a lot of work that went into this whole process, and I think you're the right choice and a great person that will help us in the future to make Kent County even a better place to live and work than it is today. So, thank you.
Commissioner Womack.
Yes, I also would like to congratulate Wayman Brick as he moves from interim to being our county administrator. But researching all of the I had a chance to look at some of your history, Wayman, from the beginning to where you are now. And you are a fine example coming out of Flint, Michigan, somewhere that I've visited before, and I've seen some of the obstacles that are in the way of education, in the way of growth, individual growth. And just seeing that you've had a lifelong commitment to your education, to your skills and talents, and being the best that you could be, and also public serving at the same time. Coming to Grand Rapids in the 70s, I thank you for choosing our county to live in. So I just want to congratulate you on your whole life journey, and I really want to congratulate this board and all of the departments, because in choosing the administrator, I got a chance to see this board work and discuss different reasons why they might pick one person or the other, but it's been an admirable process to watch. And seeing that everybody was earnest in their heart, I'm sure we got the best county administrator. So I congratulate Wayman Britt, the board, the search teams that reach out nationally, and super congratulations on winning this national search for county administrator. Thank you.
Thank you. I got a little out of order here. It was my intention to call forward our chair of our Administrator Controller Recruitment Committee just to provide a report from the subcommittee. So why don't you do that at this time? Then you with the
to get out over your skis.
A little out over your skis, yeah. Like, okay, we'll just go ahead with that. First of all, thank you to Chair Sawfield for appointing me as chair of the search committee. It really has been an honor. And thank you also to the colleagues that we served with, who served tirelessly over much of the last year. Vice Chair Bolter, Commissioner Morgan, Chair Sawfield, Commissioner Hennessy, and Paul Doyle. Also wanted to thank the staff, Pam and Amy in particular, who worked alongside of the committee, providing information and support. You all know how wonderful your staff is here at the county, and they really provided exemplary support to us. Well, and then there was one. 68 applications from 14 states and on a national search. The goal of our search committee was to provide a framework that allowed for community commissioner input and opportunities to get to know the final candidates, so that in the end, an informed county commission would make the best decisions for the future of the county. I really appreciate your comments, Commissioner Womack, because one of the things that I thought was very important was for you all to get to know Wayman better. We've all served alongside him for a very long time, but this was an opportunity for you to learn his entire resume, and we might not have had that if we had just appointed him as our full-time controller. So the process was aptly guided, I think, by GovHR, and it afforded time and opportunity to define what the county wanted in its future leadership. And with input from the county commissioners and the community, we were seeking a leader that combined conservative fiscal approaches with a vision for the future that benefits all. To that end, the search committee unanimously recommends Wayman Britt to be that leader. With his proven track record and broad community support, we are confident, together with the county commission, that he will be successful. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Sandy, and I do want to especially thank you for agreeing to serve as not only a member of the committee, but as chair of the committee. It was a perfect choice in that you were a former chair of our board, but also in your day job handle things, executive searches, and so you were just the perfect person for that. I thank you for your time and effort on that, as well as the rest of the subcommittee members. And yes, if there is any specific questions, Sandy, regarding the work of the subcommittee, I'm happy to entertain those as well at this time. We did have a thorough opportunity to question the candidates in the past and talk about the process, so we may be pretty good in that regard.
All right.
Okay, I don't see any, so thank you again very much. I'll continue with the questions that were raised, and Commissioner Jones, you have your hand up next.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to comment that I took the time and ended up windshield on the way to get to the public comment section where we had the public meeting where we had the two final candidates do an interview with anyone from the public who wanted to chime in with questions. And I thought that was a really key and important piece of this whole puzzle, because yes, the position in working with us and working with the staff is one component, but a big part of this is also working with the community at large. I really thought that setting was really a great addition to the whole process, and thought the support for Wayman was very significant in that room, and I'm really glad that I took the time to go to that as this whole process shook out. So well done, Wayman, and this will be an exciting adventure forward.
Commissioner Morgan.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Hey, congratulations, Wayman. Well done. And I have to congratulate the chairs, too. I was part of that process. I was a little skeptical going in. You know, I like to cut to the chase sometimes. I'm trying to be a little more patient. That was a New Year's resolution of mine. It's going.
We heard it.
It's going better.
You know this is recorded, right?
Sure.
Okay.
But Diana, are you ready for this? I got to tell you, I thought that was your phone going off when we first started this conversation. But I got to tell you, Britter wouldn't be where he's at without Dinah here. She's been a great support to him, and I've got to know both of them and work closely with them. I got to tell you, going through this due diligence, at the end of the day, there was just the way Kent County conducts its business, and I was really impressed. And there were 64 candidates. Wayman won the job, and he's earned the job, and looking forward to working with you. I'll try to be more patient, but I like to cut to the chase sometimes.
Mr. Antor.
Wayman, congratulations. Over the last 9 years, Wayman, in a little bit different sense, is a family man, father, husband. He cares for kids a lot, and that to me is the true measure how much he cares for people that are really hurting, especially some of the families around here that are suffering. And we have some really good candidates, but I'm looking forward to working with Wayman, and I know he's going to stay the same man that he was before this position. That's the one thing I encourage him. You know, the title changes, but that I've worked with for the last 9 years, I hope you stay the same, because that's what got you to this place, and we appreciate all the hard work and just the caring for this community and all the quality of life issues that go on here. I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Commissioner Breve.
Thank you, Chair. I, appreciate the search process, the due diligence that was done, and, one thing about Wayman is he really understands the culture here of Kent County, and I think that's important to have in a leader and administrator. Just the letters of support from various members of the community were so strong, and, I'm really looking forward to serving with him, and curious and interested to see what your stamp will be, like what mark you'll leave here on the county and impression you'll make. So I look forward to working with you, Wayman. Thank you.
Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't serve on the search committee, so to some extent I sort of was on the outside watching that go on, and there were a couple of observations that's, as the process went on. The first is just the number of incredibly capable, competent, qualified candidates that the search committee had to deal with and to evaluate and to assess. And right on up to the end, I was very impressed with what was out there and what was capable of coming to this task. The second observation was how Wayman's abilities, skills, and competencies stacked up so effectively against that competition. So at the end of the day, we are all served very effectively, very well, and I'm very optimistic that this is the decision that will move us forward. I'm going to hold off the congratulations until the formal vote, because it's not over till it's over. But I think the process worked, and it served us all very well.
Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Chair Saltzfeld. There was several of us were out of town when some of this was going on, and for that they sent a video to each of us, and I sat down and did about an hour, 15 minutes for each of them, and could get another perspective of that, and so there was great inclusion. And the point that stood out to me was the confidence with which Wayman feels in our community. And I think that gives him extra strength of influence. As we realize as elected and accountable people to the public, we have an influence there. And I'm thankful for Wayman's influence, for the man and the couple that you are. What an influence in our community. And I'm thankful for that. And know you are on the prayer list of Harold and Joanne. And, thank you for your service. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilkowski?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your work and your commitment, and look forward to continuing to work with you. You know, before I got to this side of the table, being on the other side of the table, I've always known that you have great respect for everybody, and as they come forward, and I learned that most in the front of the court advisory committee, because while you challenge staff and other elected officials in the county, you were also, when it was appropriate, to say to community members, wait a minute, let's really look at this. So that balance I greatly enjoy and appreciate, because I'm one of those people that sometimes jump out of my skis, and which we need to have too.
Patience.
Overrated. So yes, I'll hold my congrats as well.
Any other comments?
Well,
Mr. Mast?
I'm going to say congratulations, Wayman. A telephone call a couple of days ago. I'm impressed with the process. Thank you very much, past chair Sandy, to lead it. Wayman, I think what stood out to me is as we went through this whole process, you were interim. I encouraged you early on to apply, and everybody figured you would apply, but you maintained your calm during some pretty, tense times. I think you were confident enough of your own abilities, and confident enough of us and the process that it was going to stick with us. So that shows your character too. So thank you very much for doing that. Welcome and congratulations.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes, Wayman, congratulations. It's been fun working with you the last 18 years. Touched my heart. You're a great guy. And all the issues that I work with, it's always, what do you think we ought to do? And we made resolutions to many, many problems over the years. And I appreciate your outlook and your positive outlook. There's only one problem you have, and I mentioned it to you, game, and the prizes haven't been that good on some of these outings. So if you could please work on that on your time, I appreciate it. Thank you, Wayne.
Other comments by commissioners? I'm going to say something here. I just really am pleased with our end result of the subcommittee. Again, I appreciate the work of the subcommittee and the process. I think it was an outstanding process. In the end, three things that came home clear to me. It was Wayman's love for the community and for the county. That came through, both through his interviews and through the letters and phone calls I received from community leaders. It's the fact that I've seen Wayman willing to put in the work. As chair, I get to see that more than the rest of you. We have lots of calls well after closing time, sometime in the early morning hours, sometime on the weekends. There's stuff going on all the time, and Wayman's always available and puts in the work that's needed. And then finally, I just think you have a servant's heart. I forget who made the comment, but you're going to remain the same person. You're not somebody that's out for with an agenda or with some kind of personal goals. I mean, you're doing this because I know you really care about the community, and that made me very comfortable with this decision and very supportive of this recommendation that we made. So with that, we have a motion. It's been supported. Let's have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 125-18-4, Commissioners Womack,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Vonk,
Yes.
Talon,
Yes.
Steck,
Yes.
Skaggs,
Yes.
Ponstein,
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
You only get one vote. Commissioner Melton.
As Erica Scott Talent,
Yes. Commissioner Mast.
Yes.
Korndike.
Most definitely.
Coleman.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Bulkowski.
Yes.
Breve.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioner Antor.
No. I didn't want Wayman's head to get too big. I changed it to a yes. I'm sorry.
It's too late. Way too late, Commissioner.
Your yes
Antor.
vote is tallied. Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner, you have 19 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The
Go to the podium there, sir.
That is going on record as my favorite roll vote. Very fun. Thank you.
Just have a few comments. I won't bore you, but I did write out a few comments. So there are a few times in a person's life when they feel wanted, needed, appreciated, and encouraged, that their work they pour into the community is significant and it really matters. Today, I feel really blessed that my work in this community is appreciated and it really matters. To this board, to this community, to the leaders of West Michigan, and to the citizens of Kent County, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Confidence that you've given me and the courage that you've shown today, the wisdom that you've shown today. Thank you. So, no one person can possibly accomplish the great task that lays before us. Our success is ultimately dependent upon, once again, on our ability to build a great team. I know about teams, and it's impossible to build a great team without a great team behind you. So, I want to thank my Kent County team, my staff, they have been really awesome, supportive, resilient, tireless, dedicated. It's just amazing. Their resilience and their commitment is bar none. So I want to thank my family and my friends and my colleagues that have supported me. No man is an island. And I want to especially thank Dinah. She's put up with a lot. Oh my God. Early mornings, late nights, always there, never complaining. She supports all of you.
Can we get a picture of you two later? Can we get a picture later? You didn't mention going out to dinner with the Morgans or anything like that.
So I want to say thank you to Chair Salfeld for your leadership and for just making sure that this board got it done. And it's been a year since you started, and you were right there. So thank you. And thank you to the board again for your confidence. I promise not to let you down. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, our permanent administrator and controller. Procedural side note, in the resolution, you probably saw there will be another item that comes before the commission in either the next meeting or the one after that of the contract to approve with Wayman. I will work on that. I will bring it first to the executive committee, get approval and consensus recommendation from them, and then we'll bring it to the board. So I expect that'll happen probably the next meeting if need be. Look to that. Everything will be retroactive. Today is the official day. So again, congratulations. We look forward to working with you. And we're gonna, you know, there's times you're gonna be saying, why did I do that? But I'm sure
You'll be saying, no.
Yeah, remember this day. Remember this day.
So, very good. Let's move then to public comment, final public comment. This would be a short public comment, 1 minute. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sam Moore, 455 Prospect Avenue Southeast. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Sandy for her work chairing the search committee. As a member of the public, I had the opportunity to attend the process and also for the input that the county gathered from various stakeholders. It was a very open process, but at the end of the day, I think we came to the conclusion we all knew. We have the best talent in the nation right here with Wayman, so congratulations, Wayman. The community is behind you. We support you. This is a great day for the residents of this county.
Look at this.
Chair, give him 30 seconds, will you?
I can't talk as fast as Sam, but I wouldn't have missed this meeting for anything. I wish I could have been the 20th vote, and that's the only regret I got for not being here. But Wayman, congratulations. I remember the day that you were hired into Kent County, and we talked then. We've talked a lot of times, but congratulations and best wishes. It was my phone, by the way, that went off. I apologize for that. I thought someone turned it off, but apparently it wasn't me. And then one thing, for all you guys here that your wives say that your ears aren't as good as they used to be, I'm sure that Harold, your wife, says you're not paying attention to me or whatever. I got hearing aids, and I got to thank the board for this in this room, that I can hear every word. I can hear when you're snapping your teeth back there now. Don't be afraid to do it. But thank you, Jim. Thank you, board. Thank you, Wayman.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Gusweiler, 53 Rockview Drive, Rockford, Michigan. Wayman was integral at the beginning of the West Michigan Sports Committee. He and I didn't see eye to eye. We butted heads occasionally, but for me, that was growth in my leadership capability and my personal growth as well, and I thank Wayman for that. I think we need that as leaders, as individuals, to be challenged, and experiencing that and having known Wayman as long as I have, he's the right man for the job and he'll do a great job. So congratulations, Wayman, and thanks all of you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment this morning? I see none, so we will move to,
Head for the exits, Britter, head for the exits.
Well, I just want to thank the entire board and the search committee and the tremendous support throughout Kent County. You selected a fine man. I live with him every day, so I know. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, very good. Our next agenda item is our reports. Are there any reports by commissioners? Commissioner Cornett.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to report on the airport. We had our meeting yesterday, and I was fortunate enough to be elected as the new chairman of the airport authority. I want to thank my
unanimous vote, by the way.
My current members for that honor. I'd like to make my first report. First of all, as you all know, we had a new passenger record for the 5th consecutive year at our airport. 2,811,000+ passengers came through our airport. And challenging our director and our airport staff to make that 3 million in 2018. So hopefully we can make that happen. The big things that we're looking to accomplish in 2018 is an FIS, which is customs at our airport. We don't have that. Something that I think we've needed, and we're going to really focus on getting that accomplished, hopefully in the next year or two. Secondly is a new air traffic control tower. We have one of the oldest for an airport of our size in this county, and we need to have that replaced, and we're going to work hard to accomplish that as well. So, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Commissioner Breedy.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to give a report on the lead task force. We had our final meeting last week, and we approved the report, and it should be on your desk. Edits are made. It should be on your desk any day, and we're hoping to move it in the next couple weeks. So
Great.
Thanks for all the work and all the efforts from my colleagues on that, Carol and Dan, and then also Adam at the Health Department, and Commissioner Lanier from the city. So it's been a great process.
Great, thank you as well. I know you stepped in or to lead that up, and that's, I knew at the time it was going to get a lot of attention, and I think it has, and it's well needed, so I appreciate that.
And it's not done yet. The process, will be through the Community Health Advisory Committee to continue freeing our community from lead.
Good. Any other reports? Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. Just a brief report on the status of the Lakeshore Regional Entity. The Board of Directors did proceed to approve a resolution to submit the actual provision of the risk management and the care management services at the Lakeshore Regional Entity out for public bid, seeking to have private entities to bid to take over those responsibilities. That's a radical change and shift in how this thing is going to function. It is submitted for approval at the next board meeting with the intention that we would identify the bidding process and the potential bidders over the course of the next 60 days. So stay tuned to that.
Thank you. Any other reports? I do not see any, so we will move to agenda item 11, which is miscellaneous. Or is there any commissioner miscellaneous this morning? Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Two. One, the Grand Valley Metro Council meeting for February 1st has been canceled. And then two, I'd like to continue to bring up PFAS because I know that is a topic that continues to change and have a lot of attention on it and have a lot of concern for the residents in our community. Thank you to Adam London for all the extra effort and hours he continues to put in that area to help. I know when I get phone calls, I have a number of leaders in the community that I refer to him to make sure we all sing off that same message piece, that we all are aware of what's going on and are contacting the people in the know. And thank you, Adam, for being one of those people.
Commissioner Womack.
Yes. When I ran for office, I ran on a few issues in my community: lead abatement, education, jobs, and safe streets. In my district, just as recent as Tuesday when I left the legislative meeting, I went directly to a funeral of a 2-year-old that was shot in my community. After going to the funeral of the 2-year-old that was shot, I went to the grandmother's funeral of that 2-year-old, which was the same day. And I heard a father say he lost his mother and his 2-year-old son at the same time, as they were both shot last week in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So being a county commissioner, I've seen things and met people and get to see the great concerns for some of our medical problems we have out there, and the fear that people wake up, they don't want to die from cancer, they don't want their parents to get Alzheimer's. There are so many diseases and things out there we haven't cured that we have problems with. But in my community, it's terrible that cancer is like second place to opening up your door and getting shot. The fear of getting shot by somebody you know over the most trivial. So I'm just hoping in 2018, as I continue to battle in my community to keep us from killing each other in our community and battle and this violence, and start our Stop the Violence movement. I'm just hoping that if there's any advice or help that anybody in Kent County can give us with our community, please feel free to get in contact with me, because it's very serious. In 2018 has started off that I don't think we've had a week in Grand Rapids without a shooting. So I just wanted to bring that is a very super sensitive issue in our community.
Thank you. Commissioner Stack?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so it's time now to congratulate you. So congratulations. This is a real blessing for you, I'm sure, but it's a blessing for us. And you think about the ability for this community to have the best of the best already in place. And so we move forward. So congratulations. One last thing. All of us get calls from time to time from constituents, and if you're like me and you get the call, it's usually in a recording. I start playing in it. It's you think, oh, all right, what am I going to have to do now? But I had a call this past week, which was really kind of cool. It was a call that said, "I'm just calling to tell you that Dar Boss does such a wonderful job, Dar." And I just need to call you and tell you that. Congratulations and acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. Commissioner Melton?
Thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out for me to be able to extend an invitation, but I'm going to anyway. In Kentwood, we have a dinner for our Education Foundation once a year. We kind of resurrected it a few years ago. And we honor some of our former alums. And our outstanding alum this year for Kentwood Public Schools is our very own Chris Beck. And he will be at the dinner, and would love to have had all of you come, but we do have an evening meeting that night. So when you see him, congratulate him. It might not seem like a big deal, but Kentwood's had an awful lot of alums over the years, a lot of graduates, and he was a unanimous choice. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Commissioner Hennessy?
Congratulations, Wayman. I'll add the congrats now. We had the ceremony this morning for the veterans, the Veteran of the Year, and one of our West Side leaders, a dynamic, involved leader, and a veteran, did pass in the last week, and that is Bob Sarnecki. And he retired after 26 years in the United States Army Reserve as Command Sergeant Major of the 394th Station Hospital, 100 beds. And so he also was a long-time president of the Polish Falcons, the Grand Marshal for the festival, a founding member of the Polish Heritage Society. His wife has always been by his side. You didn't see Bob without seeing Char, and Char will remain a dynamic influence in the community. But it is with sadness that I note the passing of this friend who was very, very involved in the military, and in fact, their son was also a West Point graduate. So the military and veterans service is very, very strong in that family, as it is for many of our families in this community, and that includes Wayman, who brought a lifetime of community involvement to the position that you're now holding.
Thank you. Commissioner Korndike?
Thank you, Chair. I was fortunate enough to attend the State of the State on Tuesday night, and one of the issues that the governor talked about was our environment and focusing on abatement, something that we've already started to do here in the county with our lead task force, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Reeve and also Adam London for their leadership in regards to that. Our report will be coming out soon, and we're going to be actively trying to deal with this issue within Kent County. So kudos to them for leading us, and also for you, Chair, for putting that committee together. And the other issue was PFAS that he talked about, and I've talked to Adam London about this as well, and I know that there's citizens that are concerned in my district, as I represent part of Plainfield Township as well, in dealing with this issue, and I'm confident that Adam will get us a resolution to dealing with the PFAS within Kent County, and we'll move forward on that as well. So thank you to Adam and to Emily and to you, Chair. And finally, again, Wayman, looking forward to it.
Thank you. Okay, any other miscellaneous this morning? Commissioner Morgan.
Mr. Chair, I'm not going to say anything to Wayman right now, but talk to you later. I'd like to congratulate Dan Korndike on his receiving the chairmanship at the airport board. I share his vision. I think we're going to continue to grow out there. And I just wanted to add, the vice chair is Dave Slickers from Holland, Michigan. And the secretary is Floyd Wilson. So I appreciated the opportunity of chairing that board for the last 5 years. I think we've made a lot of progress out there, and I know it's going to continue. So congratulations, Dan.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous? I just have a few quick things. Number one, I did get a formal notice of a request to consider a millage for the November ballot. And that would be by a group that came to us in the past, Early Childhood Development Group. Kate Walters was the one I talked to, and there's several community leaders that are kind of an ad hoc committee that are supporting this. In light of this, I will assemble and seat a millage subcommittee. In the past, that's how this county has dealt with millage requests, is you seat a subcommittee that vets the request and makes a recommendation to the board about allowing, that helps us then decide whether to allow that to be presented to the voters in November. So look for that to be something that we'll seat here in the next month. There's nothing to act on at this point, but I just want to get our ducks in a row and have that committee ready to go when the request does come in. Secondly, I want to just note at the request of commissioners, we are doing more evening meetings this year rather than just one. And the first one of those happens to be our next meeting in February, on February. So that's a 6 p.m. meeting. And then finally, I think usually the administrator takes care of this, so since that's probably not something you were thinking of, we should have a reception after a meeting to congratulate you for this new position. So we'll bring in a cake and do a little reception after one of our upcoming meetings as part of the congratulations to our new administrator here in Kent County. So with that, I don't think there's anything else, so I will call on Commissioner Hennessy for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn, subject to the call of the chair and to 6 p.m. Thursday, February 8th.
Support, and there's support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes. We are adjourned.
This weekend, stop by.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Bayard, Kent County. Ami, Kent County.
Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.